Stokastic, here we go. It's your old pal EMac coming to you with one Eric Lindquist as we are in the midst of March Madness, getting ready for a little NBA action. We've got a 5-game slate for if you're playing on Yahoo tonight. It's staggered. Every slate gets its own start time. Should be a good one. Couple of nice late night hammers there, a 9 o'clock and a 9:30 Eastern time games. This should be a scoreboard that is just popping off as it does this time of year. Mr. Lindquist, Team Eric, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing better now that Mikal Bridges has joined the land of the living here for the early slate. Both that, props, all those things I needed to work out. But how about this? Eric and Eric on the road. This is good stuff. We got you in Florida, me and AZ. Good stuff. New producer here behind the virtual wall here. Good to have Jacob along with us. Good stuff today.
Yeah, we are, of course, brought to you by No House Advantage here. We're going to be talking about them. I'm in Florida, so I actually can play No House Advantage when I'm in Virginia. They don't even let you access the website. Good times here. Of course, no sports betting. So as I say when I'm in Virginia, if you are in a state that is less than enlightened when it comes to sports wagering, check out No House Advantage. You can get your player prop parlay cards put together there. They also have tournaments where you could play against other gamers in the peer-to-peer formats that we are used to. A little bit different over there. You build out your prop parlay card, choosing overs or unders. Then you assign a confidence points to them. 10 through 1 is usually the format on NBA. They also do single game contests usually for the end of the night. Those usually pick 7 questions. That would be assigning a 7 through 1 confidence points. You get it right. Those are your points. Those go into the tournament leaderboard, and that's how you hand out the money at the end of the night or the prizes. There is also a versus the house feature. That's where you build player prop parlay cards against the house. Those are dynamic props, meaning they will move based on injury news. The tournament games, those props don't move. Think of those like salaries in DFS, right? If injury news comes out, salaries don't change. That's sort of that format. But if you're looking to scratch that itch, like many of us are this time of year with little March Madness college basketball style, they do have college basketball props up. We will talk a little bit about that and some other stuff, but we've got 5 games, so we're going to slide on in here and start going over those. Reminder, you guys want to hit that like button, subscribe button. That would be great. Also check out the Odd Shopper YouTube channel, 4 o'clock every weekday. From 4 to 5, you're getting the Odd Shop. That is a show that has all of our preeminent sports bettors, including one, Mr. Lindquist. But you'll get to see Jazzraz, Ben Raza. You get Aton on there. You're going to get probably Josh Engelman dabbling from time to time. I saw Rinpack make, it was Ben Raza. He stepped in for you when there was some technical difficulties. It's a lot of fun. And we're all in the chat because we like to see what's up with the new show. So you can see all of the other personalities hanging out there as well. Check that out from 4 to 5, Monday through Friday. Eric, we've got our first game of the night. Miami at Detroit. The Heat are 10-point favorites here heading into Motown, the Motor City. You've got a 218.5 over under here. Zeller is out for Miami. Kyle Lowry is probable. Detroit, well, it's the end of the year, so a lot of people are sitting. We know for sure that Bogdanovich, Burks, Diallo, Stewart, and Cunningham, yes, we're going to mention him just for fun, they are all out. You've got Isaiah Livers, who is questionable. He's missed the last 2 games with the sore hip. Hampton is questionable with a back issue, and then Marvin Bagley has been out for the last 3 games. He's coming back tonight. He was dealing with ankle soreness. What do you want to do with this just barn burner leading us off? It's alone for a whole hour. It's us, the Heat, and the Pistons.
Do we have to talk about it?
We can skip right ahead. I'm willing to do that.
I mean, this is just, I think it's pretty clear cut what's going on. The ownership is kind of showing you exactly where everybody's landing here. Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, all 3 players on the Heat side. They're the only ones I have any exposure to in this entire game. As you make more lineups, maybe you see a Detroit piece move into all lineup or 2. I think Jalen Duren would actually be the guy I have the most interest in, where you can play 2 centers, mainly because if you see him get any kind of lion's share minutes just from foul trouble from the other guys, sweet, he can smash. But my God, what are we supposed to do with this basketball game other than just like play a couple of Heat guys and move along our merry way?
That seems to be the appropriate case here. It's a little bit crowded with Detroit. Miami has a solid system defense that they've just been employing for years. So even though the parts change, they still tend to play things at a more deliberate pace. They tend to challenge more than other teams on possessions, which of course tends to just the fantasy goodness evaporates in front of our eyes because that clock keeps moving and the points aren't going up. So I've never one to shy away from avoiding players against Miami. You hit on the big three that we're looking at. It doesn't look like we have any surprise injury scratches. We'll know from the jump on this game. 5 games tonight, again, 5 different start times. We haven't had anything wonky announced yet. It's coming. I don't know who it's going to be, but it will be somebody. But is there anything else you want to highlight from this one? Because there are some games that we're going to really get into here.
Yeah, this game sucks. It's the first one of the night. There might be some things that can always show up later. So any lineup spots that are showing up for you there, you're taking up lineup spots there. Kevin Love, he's actually pulling ownership. I don't understand it. 3,900. We know he can be a good fantasy point per minute guy, but because of the pace of Miami, they're 29th in pace, sitting at just 96.5 possessions per 48 minutes this season. I pretty much have zero interest in trying to get to the Detroit pieces on the other side. I don't want to be playing at 3,900 Kevin Love here with the number of ways that those rotations can look. I think he's pretty capped, but pretty clearly capped at around 22 minutes going forward. Like I find it hard to believe he will ever be playing over that. We have him projected around 18 here. So I just don't find anything appealing other than the studs on the Miami side, Butler, Hero, Adebayo. Just to touch on Detroit, if you landed in a share of Killian Hayes, of Jaden Ivey, are they guys who can maybe put you up 45, 50? Sure. But we have so many guys like that. They're pulling 6%, 8% for Killian Hayes. I think it's just a complete write-off on the Detroit side. I said Jalen Duren's the closest I got to pulling the trigger on just about anybody there, but Wiseman there, Bagley there. Why are we even trying to make this a thing?
Absolutely. I think we can slide on out if you're
Let's do it
to our next game. Ace of Spades, I do see your super chat there. We will hit the tiers question for you in a bit here. I'm just going to pull up that information and get those together here. I used to play that quite religiously. There's too many sports going on right now. I'm still doing NHL, all formats. There's college basketball. We had F1 today. Of course, there's NASCAR. I think it's underway right now. There's just too many things going on. So I gave up the tiers format. I'm still doing Showdown over here on DK, but I'm very versed in this game. So we'll take a look at that here in a moment. But I want to remind everybody, you can get access to all the good stuff behind the paywall here at Stokastic. These tools save you time, which I think is the key thing. It's the one thing you can't buy more of or acquire more of is time. So
oh my God,
it's quite helpful.
Philosopher, you go to Florida and you become Jimmy Buffett. Look at this.
I sit there, I'm looking at coastal water views. I'm looking at ocean views. I'm looking at Gulf views. I'm looking at bay views.
You're looking at wife views.
I'm feeling the serenity here. Happy wife, happy life. We're looking at a little condo perhaps. So good times here.
Hashtag good how times. Rich.
Well, this is a nice little side hustle here, and people don't. They're like, man, you just play the couch cushion games. The couch cushion games add up if you know what you're doing here. So just putting that out there. Plus, we have all these great talents here at Stokastic, such as Eric and Greg, et cetera, that will help steer everybody in the right direction. But let's get us steered back on course here. Let's talk about the New Orleans Pelicans, 5-point favorites heading into Houston here. Most everybody healthy for Houston, so that's going to kind of temper the upside for a lot of players. We have seen them, they're all but assured of having one of the bottom 3 records, which as they changed, I forget if it was the 2018 or 2019 draft. It's funny to see how many people don't realize this has changed. The 3 worst records get 14.1% shot in the lottery. That's something that they changed. This is the 4th or 5th season that people still say, oh, they're trying to get the worst record. It's like, no, the bottom 3 teams are all but ensconced in that right now. Indiana's trying to do their tailspin so they can get the 5th best pick. And Charlotte's probably going to be the other team. But New Orleans Pelicans, no Zion Williamson. Very, very sad. Jose Alvarado is also out. But otherwise, we have Brandon Ingram back. Looks like a good play over there on Yahoo. He's in my main lineup there. But I want to hear your take on Ingram, CJ Williams, CJ McCollum there. You've got a Houston team that has played competitively. They are going for it, especially when they're at home. They look to win, and in closer games, they have been playing their key players upwards of 30 minutes. If it's a runaway early, a bit of a disaster, we see most of those guys peter out around 26, 28 minutes. What do you want to do here? Lead us through the Pelicans first.
Yeah, Brandon Ingram, we'll start with him. He's an awesome play. You get small forward eligibility covered. He's got the third highest boom percentage in the boom bust tool for today's slate. He was one of my favorite tournament plays from Friday's slate. Thought he made all the sense in all the land. Serviceable number there. We're going to see some high scoring slates coming down to the end of the year. You didn't absolutely need him in the same exact Houston matchup, but it didn't hurt you to have him. They're running the same exact game back. Good game environment for the Pellies. And you're getting so many minutes from Houston that you kind of know the defensive liabilities of the Jalen Greens, of the Kevin Porters out there on the floor. They're going to have Jayshawn Tate, Jalen Green, KJ Martin switching on to Brandon Ingram. So they're going to be some defensive inefficiencies for him to take advantage of. And as you said, Zion Williamson out. We're seeing some 35, 36% usage type games here for him. The usage had been down of late the last couple, but I think a lot of that was just working himself back into game shape. He's then out for a week after that Dallas game. In that win, he only played 17 minutes there. The usage took a hit that first game back, but I think he is all systems go here. By far the best play from the Pelicans. I think we can get to other pieces. Jonas Valanciunas, talked about him last Sunday for a while, and then we had all that wonky Spurs news that happened on the other side, and so many different weird iterations. Portland it was, going up against Yusuf Nurkic. A lot of weird ways things work out there. I'm never as enthused to get to him when you know Larry Nance Jr. is there. You know he's probably not going to close. But if I had to be taking a shot on other guys here in one lineup, I think Jonas Valanciunas gets to the top of the board for me. I'm making enough lineups where I'm going to get some Herbert Jones, some Larry Nance into my lives, but nothing in kind of a prominent exposure. I'm not getting to the field on either one of them. I'm well over on Brandon Ingram. I think that's kind of the easiest way to treat the Pelicans.
And I'm good with that. How are you feeling? And sorry, I hear my dog coming in here, so I'm gonna have to go deal with her. But how are you feeling about the Jonas Valanciunas, Larry Nance Jr. Shared minutes situation, just capping each other's upside? Well,
you saw 34 minutes, and you saw what happens when he gets 34 minutes. Do you expect that again here the second time around against Houston? No, because Larry Nance exists. I think there's just that path to get in there, but my God, if he plays well, and he played, it really kind of started against that Portland squad. He only played 21 minutes. It was a complete blowout there. That Lakers spot was a blowout there, so it's hard to really know. I think what happens is you're going to see them play competitive games, and you might see Jonas Valanciunas close more often. And when he does, he's 6,100, and he's going to smash that tag. He's a 1.25 DraftKings points per minute player. But the reason he's not 35, 40% owned on a slate like this, the reason he's at 17.5% on DraftKings right now is because of that minutes type of volatility, what can show up from time to time because of Larry Nance. It's way easier for me to click on JVal with Larry Nance out, but that's the case for everybody. So I think he's about appropriately owned at this number. I'm not getting to it, but again, I would entertain, because we just literally saw it in the exact same matchup last time out. 34 minutes of him is like a guaranteed 40 burger minimum. He put up over 50 there in that spot. At a 1.25 DraftKings points per minute player, he's not somebody that I would ever remove from my pool at this kind of exposure, knowing that that chance is there for him to close. Now, if he doesn't here, also wouldn't surprise me, and you wouldn't want any of him there playing 16, 20 minutes or something of that nature. But given the tag, given everything there, he's definitely somebody I want.
All right, and chat just was looking for a little clarification on your CJ McCollum. I think to put it more succinctly, you have him probably as a more neutral play.
He's very neutral. He's appropriately owned, 18.6%. I don't really have a case for or against him. There's just so many plays that look like him at 7,800. We have some things coming up later that I'm just a little bit more enthusiastic to be getting to. That's probably the easiest way to say it. I just think you got a game environment there in Orlando and LA, LAC going to Portland, Milwaukee, 235 total there even. I find this to just kind of be okay. It's meandering, 227.5 total here at the moment. It's a good spot for a lot of these Pelicans, but CJ McCollum, 7,800 with Ingram there, not really my favorite play.
All right, moving on over to the Houston side here. I kind of gave a bit of the lead here in that nobody's really going to see an abundance of minutes unless it's a close game down the stretch, and then Houston has shown that they're willing to put their young players out there for additional experience. You have seen Alperen Şengün end up with some more minutes than he has been normally, or at least they've been more effective. He's over his last 5 games, 9 or more field goal attempts in each of them, including 4 of double digits. He's actually been getting some rebounds. He's been handing out some assists. The steals have been there. A couple blocks have been there. We're seeing some better fantasy point totals here. Adam Scherer had been doing a pretty good job of saying, look, it's just been a comedy of reasons, errors, and circumstances that have just led to Şengün having a horrendous 14 or so game stretch. He's sort of pulled back out of it a little bit here. He's got 40 fantasy point upside quite easily. It's just tough putting a center position with him in it, because you need to get one of his good games, and then it needs to be a really good game besting all the other centers tonight. How are you feeling about Şengün? Take us through the rest of the youngsters here on the Rockets.
I kind of am intrigued by a lot more than the field, I think, with Houston, just because of what these minutes have shown a propensity to be. Şengün getting extended to 36 minutes in this exact same Pelicans matchup. Maybe it's just something where Jonas Valanciunas can go up against Şengün, and Şengün, he's closing basketball games. I guess defensively, he's now made the cut. He's somebody that they're willing to give the minutes to. Honestly, I think it was for them just making sure they got themselves a top spot, and now play their young guys tons of minutes. KPJ, I think he's undervalued on this slate. He's played 38, 39, 39 his last 3, and he's coming in with sub 15% ownership in our projections right now. You've got Jae'Sean Tate getting the most. I think that's probably the guy that I'm the least inclined to just jam. He's outperformed his fantasy point per minute rate by quite a bit of late, considering he's seen lower minutes allotment. He's not starting 0.9 fantasy points per minute there on the season. And now he's not starting, coming off the bench. Even in 21 minutes, he has just slammed a couple of these slates, filling up the box score. I don't think that long-term is going to be something I want to be invested in. That's pretty clear-cut in our projections as well. But all of these starters, even KJ Martin, I think, is a little bit undervalued at 13%. Not the most comfortable of clicks, that's for sure. But we saw 40 minutes against Boston in that win. They're playing teams competitively. They've now rattled off 3 games in a row. This is the front end of a back-to-back. I think that might be the one piece of concern I do have. They are on the slate for tomorrow. They play Golden State at home. We'll see how much they want to really be moving everybody out there. But assuming they're playing it the way they have the last few games, I think it's just an undervalued basketball team.
So actually, this works in nicely with the super chat here from Olrat. He's looking for someone to or some players to roll with instead of Caleb Martin and Max Strus. I think Tari Eason, he's $100 more than Caleb Martin. I think that is definitely one way to look at it. Strus, I wouldn't go there. Assuming it's DK, he's 4,200 there. We haven't projected for under 14 fantasy points. You can go to Jae'Sean Tate, the master utility player who can literally play every position there for the Rockets. He's at 4,200, same price. He's 6 more fantasy points at 20. So I really like Eason as a pivot. 800 more. KJ Martin becomes your pivot. Jae'Sean Tate, I'd rather play him than Max Strus just straight up.
Yep, agreed. To expand on that, the easiest way is Max Strus has gone nuts the last 2. People look at the box scores, they see 24 and a half, 32 with plus more than 30 minutes, and they think, oh, this is a great tournament play. Kyle Lowry did not play in those 2 basketball games. Kyle Lowry is playing a lot of minutes when healthy at times. He played 36, then just 19, 20, but you take 5 minutes away from Max Strus, upwards of 10 minutes away from Max Strus. He projects out for less than 15 fantasy points in our projections, and I think it's totally, totally warranted.
All right. Anything else from this game? All right. You can take a little bit of a break. I'm going to run through some tiers here real quick. Tier 1, we've got everybody separated by a point. So you've got Anthony Davis, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Damian Lillard. I would probably roll with Davis. We know he's going to play tonight. You still have a 30-minute window, get out of jail free card. If something happens, you can always pivot to Lillard. But I would go with Davis. I think he is going to be a little bit less popular than the other two, especially with that Q tag. Moving into tier 2, for me, it's going to be Paul George. Yes, the Clippers did play yesterday. They lost to Orlando. You had Paul George played, I want to say 36, 37 minutes in that game. There was no Kawhi Leonard, but tonight they're up in Portland. Much better matchup. I think if you're looking for a pivot, either one of the Toronto guys in this tier, Siakam or Van Vliet, would be the way to go. They are each within 4 points of Paul George. So really not enough to sway your decision. You want to, in tiers, you usually want to go for the lower owned players or the leverage spots. Tier 3, pretty easy. It's going to be Brandon Ingram. Eric and I both like him a lot. I would think your pivots would probably be one of the Milwaukee guys. Milwaukee is favored by nearly double digits, so I'd lean more towards Ingram. Tier 4, Paolo Banchero and Kevin Porter Jr. are the two guys at the top that are tied. I would probably lean Banchero, but secret option C, Jakob Poeltl. He's coming in. You don't get the 3 points for blocks and steals on DraftKings, but you do get the double bonus. So I like Jakob Poeltl there. Do you have a lean there on Banchero, Porter Jr., and Poeltl?
Porter Jr.'s. Yeah, I'd probably be looking more towards Banchero. I think that's he's one of my favorite plays on today's slate. We'll get to him later. But I think Paolo Banchero, probably my favorite of that grouping.
All right. Tier 5, I think Tyler Hero and Jalen Green. It's a coin flip. I think you can lean towards Hero in this one. And then tier 6, for me, it's going to be Wendell Carter Jr. He is 10% more, has a 10% better projection than every other player, 15%, 20% more than the dregs there. So I would go that route. I think he's also a phenomenal play on Yahoo tonight. He and Poeltl, I'm playing a 2-center lineup there on Yahoo. All right, I think we're good there. Let's slide into the next game here, and then we'll talk about some ways to get some Stokastic Premium for free. But I know not everybody's excited about the tiers, but see how we broke that down, showed you how to play the game, how to utilize other people's, what is it? I forget, where you use their energy and your throws and your self-defense, you use the other person's momentum against them. That's what tiers is in this format.
Is that Fisher?
Yeah, just whatever. But tiers in NHL, tiers in MLB, we'll talk about stacking. There's other strategies there. Tiers in basketball, it's all about the leverage. Eric, I'm turning you loose here. Toronto, 9-point underdogs heading into Milwaukee. This is a true island game for the Bucks. They last played on Thursday. They play again on Wednesday. We know that Jay Crowder is out. But that helps solidify a few things, I think, for Grayson Allen, for Pat Connaughton. They should remain in starting lineup. And then Joe Ingles. There's another potential pivot there from the Miami guys. What do you got from this game? And why is Fred VanVleet awesome? Or as some would say, elite?
Well, the Fred Van Elite Club. That is you. You were the forefront of that one. He's playing great basketball lately. I think he's healthy for the first time in a while. I think it was good that he sat out there for a little bit. Got himself right. He is hitting the ground running, if you want to say. He's been great. I think he makes sense to be the most owned person here. I don't know why his price just came down 8,500. I suppose because he hadn't gone for 60 like he did against Denver, something of that nature. But this Toronto team, I've talked about it a couple of times. I think they are pretty equipped to be able to handle a lot of teams in a 7-game series if perfectly healthy, with Scotty Barnes, with Gary Trent off the bench, with OG Anunoby defensively. Pascal Siakam hasn't even needed to be an alpha. I think it's an interesting spot to go and try to make some shares of him work with power forward eligibility, playing 36 minutes. They haven't been running him out there for 40 like they had been in spots. Jakob Poeltl taking a couple of minutes away from him, and then tons of minutes away from the likes of Chris Boucher and Precious Achiuwa. But Fred VanVleet, I think he's my favorite play on the tournament or on the Toronto side. I don't think that should surprise anybody. And then Gary Trent, who did flamethrow for me the other night. That felt good to get that one. We were really, really short on value on that slate. He was down to 42 or 4,300 and nobody wanted to click on him. He smashed. Then he goes back 2 days later, smashes against Minnesota. I think he's going to end up being a little bit more popular than maybe we think he will be in this spot, even at 4,900. But assuming he's just going to be 10%, assuming their projections are accurate there as we get closer to lock, I'm going to have a ton of him. I'm going to have an absolute metric ton of Gary Trent off the bench.
Interesting. I like how you laid that out. I think it's good. I think he's someone that sort of slipped down the ranks, but he seems to have found his shooting touch once again. We've seen Nick Nurse play his favorites and play them a lot of minutes. With everybody mostly healthy here on Toronto, that's going to skew kind of towards their top 8 guys, and Gary Trent is definitely within that. What are you seeing with the Toronto backcourt here, aside from Trent?
Aside from Trent,
the wings as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was a spot where I think, well, also, he was crazy owned that game slate. He was less than 25% owned on a slate. It was like a 4 or 5 game slate or something. And he smashed in that spot. He was very undervalued for that specific slate. I think he's undervalued for this slate. But what was your question one more time, EMac?
I was trying to steer you towards Scotty Barnes.
Yeah, I have a tough time with him here today. 7,400. He's overpriced. I think that there's no doubt about it. He's 10%. And if this game is competitive, he's probably a pretty decent reason why. I find myself more going towards Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, Gary Trent, because, well, Trent, you're getting the discount and you know the upside attached for it for just 10% ownership here in this scenario. And Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam have like the super ceilings. OG and Scotty Barnes have had some massive games of late, but a lot of it is just more outlier than anything else. That Lakers game specifically was just the 2 of them. That's as good of a spot as you're going to run into. Against Milwaukee, I'm far less inclined that I need to get to like 7,400 for him, 6,400 for OG Anunoby. It's nice to see Will Barton hasn't really been cutting into that rotation too much here. I played all of 14 minutes with 0% usage against Minnesota, 10 minutes before that. So he's basically faded from being somebody that could have been an 18, 20 minutes per game piece of that rotation. Seeing that and seeing Achua, seeing Thad Young, all of those guys kind of limited, it makes me more inclined to just play the starters plus Gary Trent Jr. And then Scotty Barnes, just because of where his price tag is 7,400 and where OG is 6,400, not all that interesting. I suppose I should always look at OG Anunoby's tag over on FanDuel because of that stock update or that stock upside. He is really low owned there at 7K. 3.5% ownership. We have a 10% optimal percentage. If you're making a bunch of lineups on FanDuel, don't mind that one bit.
All right. Did you see in chat we have the one and only Leroy Jenkins?
Oh boy. Let's go.
Says I'm looking a little sedate. We can't have that.
You're calm, bro.
You're Jenkins. And at least he has some chicken. That's all we need to know about Leroy Jenkins.
Yep, I see that. I could use 2 more points from Cameron Johnson very, very badly here before this game blows out in Brooklyn. But anyway, yeah, continue on.
Take us through Milwaukee here. You've got most of their stalwarts healthy. This is not quite must-win territory, but they do have a 2-game lead on the rest of the Eastern Conference. This is another way to continue to get a leg up there on Boston and company. What do you think here for Giannis? This is the rare day I did not have him as my top play of the day. For me, it is going to be Kawhi Leonard, but how are you feeling about Giannis, Chris Middleton, Drew? We should have Brooke Lopez at full health here. Looks like a walk in the park, Kazansky.
Yeah, I mean, our best value currently, just point per dollar, is Trendon Watford, and he's not even like a 6X type spot here at 5,100. So like, for me, it makes it so hard to get to Giannis. Like, he's 12K. I'm always the person on these shows who's trying to find access to Giannis, trying to find access to the studs on a specific slate who can go for 60 and solidify those kind of points. I just don't see a path to be able to play a ton of him today. There's not good enough value. I don't feel secure enough in the Portland value there. There's a reason that I said metric ton of Gary Trent, which right now at the moment, if the slate started now, would be 40% of him. He's my favorite value play that exists, and that is just an uncomfortable type feeling. Hard to get to a 12K Giannis Antetokounmpo over on DraftKings. His salary over on FanDuel, as I'm pulling that up, he's sitting at 11.8, a little bit more palatable, but still, that's just really, really hard to get to on this slate. So you're avoiding that 70 burger. You're avoiding that potential Giannis explosion spot. But going up against Toronto here, they're good enough defensively. Not that they can go out and slow down Giannis by any means, but they are just slow in terms of pace. There's going to be fewer possessions, 97.7 possessions per 48 on the season for Toronto. Not finding a ton of pass to him on the top end today.
Yeah, I also should have mentioned, let me get back to my notes here. Toronto, this is their third game in 4 nights. It is a back-to-back. They did win 122-107 last night against your Timberwolves.
Yep.
Just in case that escaped your notice during March Madness.
Thanks, pal.
Anytime. Anything else here you would like to mention?
Not really.
Joe
I mean,
Ingles?
Giannis didn't
No
play in
Joe
that
Ingles?
game, as far as I'm aware, right?
Last night? Oh, I'm sorry. You're correct.
Drew Holiday didn't play.
Yeah.
Chris Middleton didn't play.
Yeah.
All of them didn't play. Brook Lopez didn't play.
Good times. We good? We good to
Yeah, no, I'm just sad.
to do something fun?
No, I'm looking through. Let me pull this up. Am I looking at the wrong box score? Let me find this quick.
No, I was mentioning Toronto at Minnesota, not.
Oh, Toronto. Yeah, that's what I was
Toronto's
talking
the
about.
one.
Toronto. That's what I meant. Yeah, I was
At least-
looking at March 18th, and I was like, I don't see any Milwaukee Buck on that slate. So that would make sense. Thank you.
That would be the Island game, hence that they have not
Yeah.
played since
Thank you.
Thursday.
Island. I know Island. You're an Island boy tonight. That's what you are, EMac.
Somewhere,
You drink fine wine. You're an Island boy.
Everybody drinks wine where we're staying except me. I don't like wine. Very sad.
What's your drink of choice, EMac? Chocolate milk?
I like Guinness. We do have some Guinness. So
Okay,
I
then
should
now-
have some tonight.
Confirmed. You had a nice little Friday then.
And I think I like the drinks with umbrellas every now and then when you're at one of those hotel bars where it's warm in the tropics. It's good.
Beautiful things. Beautiful things.
Margaritas. Wasting away in Margaritaville, things like that.
It's you right now. Looking for your lost shaker salt.
Yes.
Some people claim that there's a woman to blame, but I know
it's
you're
Sean
taken
V's
care of in that
fault.
department because you let me know all the time.
Yeah, it's Sean V's fault. Come on.
Yeah, it is Sean V's fault. Oh, that asshole. Continuing.
All right, BetMGM. Did you guys know that if you sign up for BetMGM using the promo code Platinum Sub, or if you go through the link below us here in the YouTube chat, as long as you are signed into your Stokastic account, when you go in through that link, when you go over and create your BetMGM account, you will get 30 days of Stokastic Premium once you have deposited $10 and made a $10 wager. Don't even have to win it. You just got to wager $10 over there. Once you have done that, pops up a promo code that gets you 30 free days of Stokastic. But wait, there's more. That initial wager has bet insurance up to $1,000 on it. So that means your first bet, if it loses, you will get that back in bet credits. So if you do the $10 bet and it loses, they're going to give you a $10 bet credit. If you do a $100 and it loses, you're going to get $100 in bet credits. If you do 1,000, you will get $1,000 in bet credits. You should get 5 $200 credits. You'll have a week to use those, but that's how the bet credit / insurance works. Not a bad way to pop on in there. Plus, of course, the Stokastic Platinum subscription is worth just over $100 itself. So check that out over at BetMGM. As always, gambling in most states is only available if you are 21 or older. And if you or someone has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. All righty, game 4. This should be a good one. Eric, we are at the point of the evening where we have 2 really fun games left. This is where all of the fantasy goodness is hiding out.
Yep.
We've got the Lakers, who are going to be without Norman Powell yet again. This is a back-to-back, probably the Clippers.
Yeah, Clippers. I was going to say we gotta slow it down here, EMac. We've got 27 minutes. I guess screwing up the teams and taking long pauses will get us there.
It happens.
There we go.
It happens. Did you go to Cactus League?
I did go to Cactus League. I went to a bunch of baseball. It was awesome.
All right. I'm looking at some great.
Saw Fernando Tatis hit a ball probably 480 to dead center. It was unbelievable. First at bat, first pitch. Bye. Thanks for coming. He is so big in person. Like you think about American League shortstops of yore. I mean, now he's playing right field and will because they got Xander Bogaerts. But my dear Lord, Fernando Tatis, he is so big. I bet he's one of those rapper girls' girlfriends.
He does like big butts. You cannot lie. We're making Sir Mix-a-Lot jokes That's way, way back compared to Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. No Norman Powell. This is a back-to-back for the Clips. They lost in Los Angeles yesterday afternoon to Orlando, 113-108. On the Portland side, no more Jeremy Grant. I think he's out for the third straight game. Nasir Little, questionable non-COVID related illness. Trenton Watford might be getting his third straight start. Was out of the rotation, yet suddenly he has stepped in and posted some numbers on behalf of Jeremy Grant. That makes things interesting. Kawhi got the day off yesterday in anticipation of this game here. For me, Kawhi is the clear play of the night. Over his last 4 games, averaging 37.8 minutes, 19 field goal attempts, 54% conversion rate, including 47.6% on 5.3 pointers per game. That works out to 31.5 points, 8.5 rebounds, 3.8 assists, 1.8 steals, 0 blocks. But hey, that's some pretty serious stat numbers there. Portland has been a disaster on defense. They're allowing 120.8 points per 100 possessions. They're also averaging about 100 possessions per 48 minutes. Load them up on Leonard and Paul George. I'm also liking the under on your guy, Ivica Zubac, rebounds. What are you doing with the Clippers, good sir?
Well, first of all, that's not very nice. Our Lord and Savior Zubats. Why would you do such a thing?
Because he's coming off back-to-back 16 rebound games. That is the sixth most. That is very good. That is also the sixth highest rate or rebound total he's had in his career. And he's done it twice in the last 2 games. However, in the 4 games that he has played with Mason Plumlee, now remember, Zubac missed a bunch of time, but in the last 4 games, excluding those 2, he's averaged 26.4 minutes, 7.7 rebounds. When I wrote this up, we had him projected for 26 minutes and 8.42 rebounds. We're looking for him to get under 9.5. So I was comfortable with taking the under there. I'm just calling that out because I know Plumlee joining the team, Zubac is your guy. So I just wanted to, stir the pot a little bit.
He still is.
It's too easy to talk about Leonard and George and how good they are in this matchup.
Well, they are very freaking good. Starting with the studs, Kawhi Leonard. He's your favorite spend up of the night?
Correct.
Okay. He is not my favorite, but I like him a lot. So I am double the field on him at the moment. I think that's kind of a good spot to be on the back-to-back. I mean, the Clippers, everybody in the West is still fighting for positioning, trying to make sure that they are ascending up the standings because it's just a cluster F, if you know what I mean. They're 5th, and being 5th or 6th is just so valuable. 37 and 34. Kawhi playing still a lot on these back-to-backs. I'm feeling pretty good about him. I think Paul George, not exactly to be slept on either. He projects out pretty close to there at 9,100, and you do get the shooting guard small forward eligibility, which is pretty useful. But my favorite play on this back-to-back is Terrence Mann. I think we see Terrence Mann play 22 plus minutes here, and Russell Westbrook started playing pretty well last game against Orlando. They extended him to 37 minutes, and my assumption is because it was the back-to-back. So I'm actually looking at Terrence Mann being a guy that I'm triple the field on right now. Does he project out phenomenally well? No, but that's because his medium outcome, if you just say, oh, we expect what happened yesterday to be somewhat close to today, 22 minutes, 21 minutes maybe in this spot, I think there is room for that to go way up. Terrence Mann is an underutilized option for the Clippers. I don't quite understand it, but he's 3,800 on a slate with no value. So I am willing. There are a couple of players here, and then in the Lakers game that we're going to get to as well, that I'm just willing to roll the dice on a slate like this and hope that projections everywhere are a little bit wrong about the outlay of this team because it's a back-to-back.
I like this. I like this strategy. I like this thought. I was going to do up a little tweet to send to Greg Ehrenberg yesterday when I saw that Westbrook lost yet again as a starting point guard. I refrained, but I feel like this is what the...
Well, you're going to just neglect the fact that they had won 4 in a row before that with him as the starting point guard?
No. We pick our spot. This is Twitter.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, that's right. That's how Twitter works. I forgot.
Yes, it bends all rules of reality, normalcy, and politeness. That's all out the window here. So, Mann versus Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon, popular name in chat here. Do you have thoughts on? Is he a member of Team Eric? Is it a Team Eric night tonight?
Yeah, I mean, going to Popcorn Machine, he started yesterday, played 31 minutes. I think he's fine, but he's 4,600 For me, the appeal of Terrence Mann is he's 3,800 and he played almost no minutes compared to what he normally does last game. He played 18 and 19 in 2 of his last 3 that he's appeared. I don't quite understand what the point of that is. He was out for 1 game in the middle of that. But yeah, the 15th, 18th, he's now played 25 and 18. When he gets 24, 25 minutes in some of these spots, he goes out and he smashes because he is a 0.8 fantasy point per minute guy, but he can fill up a box score, and playing in that second unit can be a valuable thing. And that's where I think Eric Gordon sharing the floor and starting alongside Paul George and Kawhi Leonard for 800 more, not my favorite thing to do.
All righty. You got any other clip information here?
Love is starting. Didn't we expect Love to start?
I would have thought so. I was calling up some windows here to get.
He started every single game in a uniform, so that is not shocking. I like that call. Let's go, man. Great. Now I'm attached to Terrence Mann because I'm doing a crazy thing, and I want everybody else to do a crazy thing with me.
Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained? Also, why has Mikal Bridges not come out in the fourth quarter? Because he was minus 16 on the game, and they just benched him there. That's great.
He's lamenting that RJ Hampton has been ruled out with his back spasms.
Oh, okay. Well, does nothing for me.
I'm looking for explanations here. There is no cause and effect. Just
Hayes, Ivy, Magruder, Bagley, Wiseman. I want to vomit.
Let's see. So back to the Heat. Vincent, Hero, Butler, Love, Adebayo. You just got us the
Detroit
Pistons. Yep. Hayes, Ivy, Magruder, Bagley, Wiseman. It's gonna be good times here.
I want none of Detroit. I'm Xing Detroit out of my pool.
That's the Billy Ocean. Now I'm setting our callbacks even farther. That's the Billy Ocean joke.
From Billy Ocean. Are we talking Ocean's 11?
No, Caribbean Queen. Don't want.
Oh, God.
Don't want none. That's the little refrain when
he says
about Caribbean Queen.
He does.
Everybody likes a little BO in their life. I'll be here all day. 7 o'clock show is different than
what
the
do
9
I do
o'clock
with that?
show, folks. Don't forget to tip your wait staff. Try the veal. All right. Portland Trailblazers. We have Dame time. He's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Anthony Simons. He is back. You've got no Jeremy Grant. You have Trendon Watford, who played 2 games where he literally played out of his mind. There is no other way to say this. In his last 2 games of starting lineup, he's averaged just over 37 minutes, 10.7 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals per game. I don't think he keeps that up, but we got to talk about him. Does this, Drew Eubanks is in there. What the heck is going on with Yusuf Nurkic? Essentially 5 disappointing games since missing 5 weeks with a calf injury. What do we like besides the backcourt and Watford here? But you can highlight them first if you would like. I grant permission.
Well, my favorite spend up of the slate, we were talking about it. My favorite is Damian Lillard at 10.5. I think, you're getting $1,500 off of Giannis, and my assumption is that Damian Lillard is going to play in competitive spots 40 minutes a night going forward until they shut him down. Talked about the Western Conference a little bit. You want to be aware of seeding. Not that we're like in the absolute do or die territory for a lot of teams, but we kind of are with Portland. Portland is now 13th in the West. They're 31 and 39. And if they do not rattle off a couple wins here this week, like we're talking in the next 2 or 3 games, they said that they're going to shut down Damian Lillard for the year. You know what that means? As soon as that report came out, you saw Damian Lillard against Boston on the 17th have a 42.4% usage rate. You saw him put up 41, get to the line 14 times, attempt 23 shots, and 15 of those being threes. You give me that kind of just quantity. I'll take quantity over quality when it comes to just chucking it with Damian Lillard. Reckless abandon. They are absolutely out there trying to win these last couple basketball games. And I think we're going to see quick hooks on guys like Nurkic if he doesn't have it going well. I think we're going to see Trendon Watford play a ton of minutes. Matisse Thybulle has now started to play fewer minutes, 38 and then 21 because, again, it's just they decided to go to this Watford lineup and it seems to be working for them, but it's not working for them, but it's better than what it was before. I think Damian Lillard at 10.5, it's hard for me to project him for less than 56 fantasy points, given that I've got him for 39 and a half minutes.
All right. Interesting call out in chat here from SMP said this is out there, but he did want to point out that Covington did check in for Zubac yesterday at negative or at 3K flat on DK. Is that someone interesting in the I would assume the late slate for you?
So you see on back-to-back, certain players enter the rotation that you just didn't expect. He ended up playing 23 minutes. He hadn't played in 2 weeks. I think some of it had to do with it being the back-to-back. Maybe he earned himself some minutes, but I find it pretty highly doubtful. I am not playing Robert Covington, but if you wanted to take that shot, you kind of know what you're running into. You're running into a guy who could play 0 minutes or could play 22. There is a large range of outcomes. Hard to say that I just don't like it, but I'm not playing 150 tonight. I'm making 50 lineups. He's not going to be in my pool.
All right. Anything else from the Clippers?
From the Clipper side, no. I mean, we were talking Portland there a second ago. Lillard was the only guy I was talking about so far. I'm in love with him. Simons too. I think that he seems to be somebody who's popping in projections, and he feels appropriately on there at 18.7%. Now the Nurkic thing, I mean, do we just want to bang our heads against the wall until the end of the season? Because that's what it feels like with Nurkic. He got to 28 and 25 minutes, which is pretty serviceable when you think of him as a 1.2 fantasy point per minute guy. It's $400 less than Joval. But I'm having a tough time figuring out exactly what I want to do with him. I feel like I want to take the shots on him. We have him at 24 minutes, which is fewer than he's played the last two in a competitive spot. I said, you're going to see some weird stuff because they're going to do whatever it takes to try to win these basketball games. That starts with Lillard and Simons being on the floor basically the entire time, and then everybody else just filling in around them. Nurkic, though, because of the fantasy point per minute rate, feels like somebody that I should be higher on. But right now, I'm just not getting even to that 11% number.
No, I'm looking up and down our projections, and it falls off dramatically. I get why Nurkic is up there at 30 fantasy points per game. I hate to say this because we always want to be there first in DFS. I gotta see it. From Nurkic. He was out for far too long. Wofford and Drew Eubanks both had time to sort of establish themselves as reasonable options. Wofford getting more minutes than Eubanks right now because Eubanks is essentially just backing up Nurkic, but that does give, if he's playing well, then that doesn't mean he can't take the Eubanks minutes when Eubanks goes and takes the Nurkic minutes. So Nurkic just scares the hell out of me in this one.
He scares the hell out of me too, but also when guys scare the hell out of you, but they're good fantasy point per minute players, and then they actually play well, they win you a lot of money. Like yes. That's the name of the game. It's called positive leverage. If he had secure minutes, you know what Nurkic would be? Nurkic would be 50% owned on this slate.
Yeah, or he'd be 7,330% owned.
Correct. So. And so you're getting the discount because of the uncertainty, because of the way these rotations have basically eluded use of Nurkic. I mean, you're getting massive amounts of minutes for Trendon Watford, which I guess we should talk about considering he's the most popular value play on this entire slate. I think he's a good play. What?
He's center only on DraftKings.
I know.
Banks and Nurkic are center only.
And that's why I'm kind of getting away from it right now. I'm less than 25% on it. And again, I was saying before, he's the most popular value play. He's not my favorite value play. I have him, but I'm thinking about trimming it down even further because he is center. And if you can get to Nurkic for 600 more, you're trimming a third of the ownership. And I think there's probably more upside there if you were to get 28 minutes from Nurkic and the 36 from Watford. 0.82 fantasy point per minute rate. He's not like some fantasy point per minute or 1.2 fantasy point per minute guy. You're getting there because he is playing a boatload of minutes. 40 and 34 now, the last two in these starts. Assuming he continues to start, he's going to be a popular piece of value for everybody else. But I think there's ways of just taking a third of the field and saying, all right, let's just go beat them with the rest of the center position. You can play only 2 spots. Can you play a center, utility? That's it on DraftKings. On FanDuel, you're playing 1. I can't imagine Trendon Watford is the guy that I want to be playing in a third of lineups on this kind of a slate.
No, that all makes sense, and it's definitely worth calling out. I was looking at the blue side. FanDuel Watford is power forward only. You do get Eubanks at power forward or center.
Okay, look at that. Drew Eubanks sucks though, so that seems difficult.
Well, yes, but
Back down to 3,300 on DK. Trust me, I stared at him for a second today. I tried to talk myself into it, and I couldn't do it.
Yeah, no, it definitely makes sense. I see Peter Viles, bro, one statement, and he's totally correct. Eric in his second home today? ? Why, yes, we were both on the road.
Yep. I'm living my life here in Arizona, hanging with my folks. So good stuff. Good stuff.
Let's see.
I went to spring training this weekend. Hashtag good life. You know what's not good, though? Mikal Bridges didn't play a single fourth quarter minute, got benched. That is unbelievable.
I am not entertained, Eric. I am not.
I'm not entertained. I don't even understand how that's possible. I'm beside myself.
So here we go. We got 10 minutes left. If you're not entertained, we're going to bring some magic into your life here. The Orlando Magic. Don't try that.
Oh my
That's
God.
a professional segue there. We've got Paolo Banchero, Markelle Fultz just putting up monster performances, back-to-back 50 fantasy point games. Wendell Carter Jr., yet another center option. I really like him on Yahoo. I mentioned that previously, but he is just 22 over there. Fultz is 25. I think those guys are going to be core plays for you on the 4-game main slate over there on Yahoo. What do you have here for us for the Magic? They are only without Jalen Suggs, who is in the concussion protocol, and then Jonathan Isaac. We hardly knew you, pal. He is out for the remainder of the season with a torn adductor muscle.
Oh, that poor guy. How bad can you run?
It's not good. Not good.
Well, Paolo Banchero is my highest owned player on the slate, so we should probably start there. I get it. The last 3 games haven't looked great in the old box score, but this is the nut spot. You're going up against a Lakers team that over this entire season has just been allowing fantasy goodness. They are 3rd in terms of pace. They're average 15th in adjusted defensive rating, but it's just a spot where I think Paolo Banchero at 7,200, they're playing these guys extended minutes, 36 minutes now, 34 minutes, going him and Markelle Fultz. Just wanting to see what they got with the combination of it. I'm kind of in love with playing both of them. You get the D'Angelo Russell defense on the other side, which is useful. We'll put it that way. It's useful. Paolo Banchero, though, 7,200 with small forward, power forward on DraftKings. I think he's just under-owned at 27%, like wildly. And so I am over double the field. He is basically my largest stand of the day.
How are you feeling about Franz Wagner, Cole Anthony, Gary
I think
Harris?
they're good lineup filler. I think Cole Anthony,
than the Miami guys.
Yes,
were brought up earlier.
Well, also you get to react to however Miami played. So let's play that game too. The other thing in terms of late swap for figuring out how to adjust your lineups, if you get certain players that are only eligible, like Jimmy Butler, he's small forward, and I like him. Again, I'm getting to him in the first game. Tyler Hero, I can kind of adjust to how my lineups are doing with those guys. But like, let's say Kevin Love does go for 30. He's 3,900. I'm probably not going to be playing guys, that if I have like a chance to win, I'm probably not going to be playing Jared Vanderbilt at 5,700 who projects for 23 or things like that nature. I'm going to find ways to get to upside where I can kind of compete with those kind of scores that you're getting from that low end. Like Troy Brown, would I want to play him straight up if I had a Kevin Love 30 burger? Probably not. I'd probably try to find ways to get to the mid-range and find like some massive performances on both ends of this game. And the nice thing about Orlando, last game of the night, best matchup of the night in terms of pace. And all of these guys, while the prices did come up a little bit across the board on all of them, they still feel a little bit underpriced. There's a reason everybody is pulling 20, 25% ownership across the board there amongst those top 4 owned guys. Franz Wagner, I like the shout out by you. I'm right around the field on him as well. Playing those 33, 35 minutes a night feels good to get to the shooting guard, small forward eligibility there. Basically, anybody starting there, all the starters, I'm just over the field on, plus Cole Anthony. Oh, well, not Gary Harris. I should remove Gary Harris from the planet. But Cole Anthony coming off the bench, plus the other 4 starters there, feel pretty good about being overweight to them in tournaments.
Sounds like you want to nuke Gary Harris.
I do want, well, no, because nuke would be a good thing in this regard. Nuke is a compliment.
All right. Just Unnatural, you don't leave yet. You can't leave until you hit the thumbs up button. Nathan Rigg points out we have 1,500 people watching. We're still under 200 likes. Mama Mac is going to be watching this show.
Oh, Mama Mac.
Not disappoint Mama Mac.
Don't make Mama Mac mad.
No, and I have to call her after the show because she called me during the show. So I will be. Don't make me have a shameful conversation with my mom about the lack of likes that are on this particular show. Don't worry, for those of you wanting a little No House Advantage advice, we'll hit them. We're going to finish the Lakers here first. The No House Advantage contest do not lock until 7:00. We'll talk a little bit about the versus the house, but we've got the Lakers here. Anthony Davis, it's time, Eric. He is sort of, I don't want to say been unleashed, but he has answered the call. He is doing everything he can to help this team make it into the postseason. The Western Conference, of course, is very, very tight. That makes for some interesting things that are coming up here. In his last 8 games, Davis has averaged 35 minutes, 17 and a half field goal attempts. He's making 56%. That works out to just shy of 26 points, 13 and a half rebounds, 3 assists, and 2.5 combined blocks and steals. Lakers dropped their last 2, 5-5 over their last 10. They're half a game out of the play-in spot. They're only 3 games behind the Clippers for the 5th best record and avoiding the play-in tournament. What are we going to do here? Orlando's allowed 116 or more in regulation over their last 7 games. Their opponents are averaging 122.4 points.
Did that all come from the greatest article in the history of fantasy sports, the EMac special? The building blocks that you need to be reading every single day.
DFS building blocks every day. It'll teach you something. Calls out things, points some stuff out, and it's the DFS building blocks of the day plus your wager of the day. But thank you. Where do you find the time, my friend?
No kids. Oh, that'll do it.
Yes, and the direct deposits and DFS winnings, they just go to my wife. So happy wife, happy life. And I saw in chat, I forget who wrote it. I had not heard this one. Happy house, happy spouse.
Oh my God. That's fantastic.
It's a good one.
Somebody came up with some funny things. Let's talk Lakers, shall we? Round it out. 4 minutes to go for the people. Looking away. Okay. Me fire away. Okay, cool. They're not. Seriously?
I'm done.
Okay. D'Angelo Russell, I'm overweight to pretty much every slate. Even at 8,100, I have a little bit, nothing crazy. But it is just somebody that I expected to be riding the price tag to the top, even though he's only put up 32 and 33 and a half fantasy points. You're seeing him up to 8,100 because of what that potential could be with these minutes. They got to have somebody else take over alongside Anthony Davis. I think D'Angelo Russell, nothing crazy, just sitting barely double digits there, but I have a little bit today still. Anthony Davis makes sense. I like the Damian Lillard spot a little bit more. I like getting to him just thinking that he'll be playing 40 minutes no matter what, if that game is competitive. Whereas Anthony Davis, there have been times that they've had some weird rotations look, but the one guy I want to give, people are talking about Austin Reeves, and I can't click that name at 5,800, but there's a guy for 400 less on the Lakers that I think could win somebody a tournament today, and it's Dennis Schroeder. He's 5,400. He played 30 minutes. He's playing minutes alongside D'Angelo Russell. They've gone to this lineup now a number of times where they've shared the floor quite a bit. And I think it's going to work out pretty well long-term. D'Angelo Russell played off the ball a lot in Brooklyn. And I think Dennis Schroeder leading the second unit, he gets a bump there. And then playing alongside D'Angelo Russell, there seems to be a little bit of chemistry. It hasn't showed up whatsoever in terms of the box score yet. But those are the beautiful times that we're like, he's going to have a flame-throwing day where he plays 30 minutes like he did against Dallas. You're going to get in a competitive spot. And they're going to just give him extended run because they have nobody else. And I mean, nobody else who can create and do anything offensively. He is their best hope off the bench to really create alongside Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves has been that dude here of late, but I expect over a longer sample size, Dennis Schroeder to be somebody playing alongside D'Angelo Russell and doing it pretty adequately. He is 1.5% owned. I have 15%. I think that's a pretty good shout out.
That is one that was not on my radar, but I definitely like it here. For those of you wondering, we're 2 minutes away from lock. There's overlay everywhere today. DK's got a bunch of overlay. Yahoo locks at 7, but it looks like they might as well. FanDuel even has a skosh. So I guess people are busy watching the end of a golf tournament. We've got March Madness, final day of the first weekend.
First and second round. Yep.
Some good stuff here. Let's talk a little No House Advantage. as we wind things up. They are the sponsor of the show tonight, and it's fun. I'm now in Florida, so I can definitely see them where I don't always get to play them, usually unless I'm traveling to see friends in Illinois or in Florida now it is. But you guys, the best deal they have, come in through the link in the description below us here. That'll get you a deposit match, your first deposit up to $100. You put in 50, they give you 50. You put in 100, they give you 100. You put in 200, they give you 100 because it's a $100 deposit match. Those funds come out of your account. First, you have the tournament contest that we talk about. Right now, they're 30% full. That, again, those do not tip off until 7 o'clock, but those are prop-based games. You get to choose from the listed props that are there. Those are static props. They do not change. Think of those like salaries. You choose over or under, assign a fantasy or a confidence point to those, and then the player with the most points wins. Feels a lot like peer-to-peer gaming like we do on FanDuel and DraftKings, except we have salaries over there and fantasy points. So definitely check that out. The versus the house, we do have no house advantage projections, both for the free game and for the versus the house props. The best one that's popping up right there now, you're going to want to move on this one. There's two from the first game. You've got Marvin Bagley over 9.5 points. I think that is a solid option. 56% win rate, but we're projecting him for 14. You also have Max Strus under 9.5 points. We're projecting him for just shy of 7. So I think, look, you get one over and one under. I think those are quite helpful, but it's a lot of fun over there at No House Advantage. So definitely check that out. For the prop games, you choose 2, 3, 4, or 5. Player props on your card. You go 5 for 5, you get 21x. Highest payout in the industry. You go 4 for 4, you get 11x. Also the highest payout for a 4 for 4 card. Any other thoughts on prop-based gaming there, Eric? I know you do a lot of content on that.
I do a lot of content. Content that, has things like Mikal Bridges getting benched in the fourth quarter for no apparent reason whatsoever. You take your best player that you traded everything for and you play him 31 minutes and don't play him a minute in the fourth quarter makes absolutely no sense to me. So that is the most brutal loss by the hook too. So little insult to injury there, but looking at the board here for this afternoon, I'm going to have content in the premium Discord. You can sign up for that at Stokastic. You go to stokastic.com/Lindy. Promo code Lindy gets you 50% off the first week of that. It is. But looking at No House Advantage, it's just fantastic to be able to get 21x on your 5 player props, putting them together. I'm always looking for a correlation of some sort. We have a lot of unders in that Orlando LA game. The LA side, I'm more than happy to be firing up Malik Beasley, Troy Brown Jr., Anthony Davis. Looks like there's some spots where the Troy Brown Jr. and Anthony Davis unders, 13.5 rebounds for Davis, Brown under 1.5 threes. Looks like decent correlation to be getting there. They like the under of Dennis Schroeder. Obviously, I'm not cheering for that by any means, but it's projecting out decently. Looks like pretty efficient props there. We have win percentages around 55, 54% through the board there. Do love the under for Matisse Thybulle, 7.5. I know he got to 12 last game, but he played 21 minutes. And if you give me 21 minutes, 24 minutes of Matisse Thybulle, anything over like 6.5 is too high of a projection. So pretty efficient lines that we're looking at for the versus the house section, but still some opportunities to play correlated props and get better payouts than you do at other places.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like to do a lot of the twos and the threes because you get a little easier to win. I like the little dopamine hit of getting the wins, and especially as you're working through your deposit bonus, that's a way to make that money go from being theirs, that they're holding it out to you, to being yours, where it's in your hands. So if you play that smartly, you can monetize that into your own bankroll, and that's something that I think is very important. The other thing that we have, of course, is the lineup generator. It's 50% off your first week, and then it's $8.95 after that. If you guys are on a budget, that is definitely one way to go. You can build out lineups. You can go with the what we call the balanced build or the chalky build, and then the contrarian build. But what that does is it generates lineups from over 10,000 lineups. It selects them based on your criteria, and then you start going through them. You can hit discard or save. When you hit save, puts it in a little holding pen. You can save up to 20 lineups. You can download that and upload it via CSV to your DFS site of choice on DraftKings or FanDuel. You can also lock in players that you want to see in the lineups that are generated. You can also discard individual players that you see an otherwise perfect lineup. You're like, I just don't want to play this guy. You can click him out and then somebody else will pop in there for you. So that's something that's very, very helpful. These are all based off of the Stokastic tools. These are built out and refreshed every time that the ownership and the player projections are refreshed. These are updated as well. Definitely want to check that out if you're on a budget and if you're in a time crunch, right? A lot of the tools here at Stokastic, if not all of the tools, are going to save you time. That's something that's very, very valuable, especially if it's like 1 minute before lock and somebody's doing an ad read of all things. Oh, the horror.
Yeah.
The absolute horror.
Yeah. We're going to get ourselves out of here, but we had a super chat from before cash plays for DraftKings. Luckily, Miami, Detroit, the only game that locked. There's none of that right now. But I talked about Trendon Watford being under on him. I think in cash, you're definitely still going to play Trendon Watford at 5,100. I like Damian Lillard for cash. Talked about him being my favorite pay up. Paolo Banchero as well. I think those three are kind of my building blocks for it. I'd try to find a way to get Brandon Ingram into the party too. Liked him for $400 less than Jimmy Butler at the small forward position. And then you're just finding some type of filler. Doesn't feel great, but I do think Harry Trent playing 28 minutes off the bench, somebody who's sub 5K, feel a little bit secure about him being a decent enough piece. This is a different cash slate than most. We don't have great value.
Yeah, the value is really not there. And you're looking at players that are priced up on draft or appropriately priced on DraftKings, such as Markelle Fultz and Paolo Banchero, coming up with some of the better point per dollar plays, but you're just not seeing extreme salary savings here. Yep. So your best punt looks to be Larry Nance Jr. From the later game. He's going to be coming off the bench. He's going to play about a dozen minutes. What is he going to do with those? Well, I don't know. It's terrifying to think about that being in your cash game. Otherwise, you're looking at someone like Tari Eason or Jayshawn Tate as your sub $5,000 options. So there we go.
Yes, sir.
With that, we're going to get on out of here. Hat tip to producer Jacob. First time we got to work with him tonight. It was a lot of fun. Thank you, Eric, for joining. You can find him over there on Twitter at Eric Lindquist. Check out those Lindy's, Leans, Likes, and Locks coming out on the Odd Shopper channel the night before.
Nuke.
It's awesome. It's good stuff. You get closing line value. You get all sorts of good stuff when you listen to Eric's information. You can also check out the Odd Shopper or the Odd Shop on the Odd Shopper YouTube channel. That is Monday through Friday, 4 to 5. And of course, we start this all over tomorrow on this very channel, 6:30 with Josh Engelman and The Process Show. With that, gamers, follow us at Stokastic_COM. I am at EMac DFS. Good luck.